Okay, hello and welcome to today's lecture for CS303 operating systems. Today we are at lecture number 3 in chapter number 9. So we are at chapter number 9 and lecture number 3. The topic for today's discussion is, as it says here, algorithms for page replacement. Right. So in the previous lectures we discussed about page replacement. So what exactly is page replacement and why does it occur? Right. So the issue over here is that we may have a scenario in which we have overcommitted our memory. So we do know that for each virtual page we need to allocate a physical frame, and then we need to load that page into the frame. Then we need to set the value inside that page table entry appropriately, and then we can access that whatever is in that page, right, once it's been mapped to the frame. So essentially what happens is we the CPU generates virtual addresses, and then so each page at a time, and then for that page we look up the page table, we see the frame entry, and now we have the physical address where that page has been loaded, and then now we can directly access, the CPU can directly access that physical address, run instructions, grab data, whatever. We may have a scenario in which the page that has been generated, the virtual page, we don't have a corresponding physical frame for it. So we saw what event was that? That was called a page fault. So how did we handle a page fault? We have to find a suitable free frame. We allocate that frame to the page, we set the page table entry, and then we restart the instruction. And that generated the page fault in the first place. Now, one issue that can happen is we may have a request for a page which has not been mapped to a suitable physical frame, and plus there may not be any free frame available. So because frames, they correspond to physical memory, which anyway is not in abundance, so there is a good chance that for a particular process we have run out of free physical frames. So which means when we have a page fault, now there is no free frame to allocate to that page. So in that case, we have to do page replacement. We need to identify one of the frames which has already been allotted to a page, and then we have to use that frame, and we need to map that to the new page. What happens to the old page to which that frame was previously mapped? The old page has to be evicted from memory back to disk. So here now we will in this lecture today, we will look at various algorithms for page replacement. So all of these algorithms answer the same question. If you have to evict a page, if you have to replace a page, which page do you replace? Which page do you evict? So the scenario is you are given a certain number of physical frames, and to each of them we have allotted that many virtual pages, and now you have a request for a page which has not been allotted a suitable frame, and therefore you have to evict one of the pages which have already been allotted physical frames. So the question is, which page do you evict? Okay, so all of these algorithms try to answer that question. Okay. Of course, what you want to do is you want to minimize the number of page faults. So which means that if you evict a page which is very heavily used, that page is going to be used again and again after eviction, and therefore it's going to be generating a lot of page faults. So we should try and identify the heavily used pages, and we should try and not to evict them. A page which is not used or a page which is lightly used, they may be chosen for eviction. So these are just heuristics. So given an option, evict a page which is not going to be used at all. But again, it's a dynamic system, so we don't know whether a page is going to be used or not. Right? It's hard to determine. Or if you cannot evict a page which is not going to be used at all, because you cannot identify such a page realistically, try to evict a page which is not being used heavily, which is being lightly used. So again, how do you determine that? So now we look at some of the algorithms for page replacement. Okay. Now I am on slide number 2, and this is the same reference string that we looked at in the previous lecture. So here is what we have. We have an address sequence where we are generating virtual addresses. So we see 0100 followed by 0432 followed by 0101 followed by 0612 and so on. So we have a bunch of memory accesses. These are virtual addresses, and what we do is, in order to make the problem simple, we make two assumptions that we had discussed. We will focus on the page number and not on the actual memory address. So we know that whenever we have a virtual address that is generated, it has two parts. What are those two parts? One part is page number, the other is the offset. So for a particular page number, what does the offset do? It specifies which particular byte in that page we want to address. Right. So here, just for simplicity, we ignore the offsets. We just concentrate on the page number. So here what we are assuming is 100 bytes per page. Okay. So 100 bytes per page, and we know that one memory location points to 1 byte. So 100 memory locations point to 100 bytes. 100 memory locations correspond to one page. So if I look at 100, so 100 to 199 virtual addresses correspond to page 1. 0 to 99 correspond to page 0. Okay. And similarly 200 to 299 virtual addresses correspond to page 2. So like that, for 100 we have, it corresponds to page 1, 432 corresponds to page 4, 609 corresponds to page 6, 105 corresponds to page 1, and so on. So that's how we do some compaction. The other observation is, if we have a reference to page P, then any reference to P that immediately follows will never cause a page fault. So if I am having a reference to page 1, so I will first see whether page 1 has been mapped to a suitable physical frame. If yes, fine, no problem. If no, then I will have to find a suitable physical frame and map page 1 to it. Now if my next, the immediately next reference is also to page 1, obviously that will not generate a page fault because page 1 is already available. Okay. So these two optimizations we do. So the address sequence given there becomes 1416, 16, 16, 161. So we had earlier, so in the last lecture we had seen how many page faults if we allocate 3 frames and 1 frame. And we saw that, for which scenario do we have more page faults? Definitely for scenario 2, because we have smaller number of frames. More number of frames you have, more abundant is physical memory. Lesser is the likelihood that you have a page fault, because you can accommodate more number of pages if you have more frames. Right? If you have a very small number of frames, then of course you may have large number of page faults. Okay, so now we move on. Okay, now I am on slide 3, and now we discuss our first page replacement algorithm. So once again, here what we have is we are given a set of physical frames, and we have a set of page accesses, and we are here considering page numbers only, not the offset part. So now with these page access, we have to find out, which algorithm, or we'll discuss some algorithms which will, tell us which page we have to replace if the need arises. When will we have to replace a page? When we have access to a page and we find that no suitable free frame has been allocated to it. So for pages which do not have mappings with physical frames, those will cause page faults. And when no free frame is available, then we have to decide which one to evict. So these algorithms will help us answer that question. So first is just like in scheduling, where we do first task that arise, we schedule that. Similar logic here, but in terms of page replacement. So the idea is first in, first out, always replace the oldest page. So I have pages coming in at particular time intervals, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 pages coming in. So now another page comes in after a while. So which page do I evict? The page which arrived the earliest. Okay. So the idea is to always pick the oldest page for eviction. So this FIFO replacement algorithm associates with each page the time when that page was brought into memory. Okay, so that's not hard to do. And when a page must be replaced, the oldest page is chosen for eviction. Okay. So you can maintain a queue of a FIFO queue, right, of pages, and then when it's time for eviction, which element of the queue do you evict? Each element corresponding to a page. So you always evict the head of the queue, right? And when a page is brought into memory, you add it to the tail of the queue. So we can create a FIFO queue to hold all pages in memory, replace the page at the head of the queue. Okay, when a page is brought into memory, insert it at the tail of the queue. So the idea is when you need to evict a page, then always replace the oldest page. Okay. So now we'll see this algorithm in action on this particular reference string. So here again, what do these numbers correspond to? They all correspond to page numbers. So we have a requirement. We have a access to page 7 followed by page 0, then 1, 2, 0, 3, 0, 4, and so on. Keeps on going. So this is our reference string. Okay. So first we need page 7, then page 0, then page 1, then page 2, and so on. So the assumption is, so we need to assume a number of frames. So let's assume we have 3 frames. So what happens is the number of frames that you can have depends on how much spare physical memory is available, and each process can be allotted a certain number of free frames. So frame allocation is itself a different problem, which we may discuss if we have time. So for now we assume we have 3 physical frames available with us. Okay, and we're accessing all of these pages. Okay. So one thing we are noting here is, so which will come back to later, performance is unfortunately not good, high number of page faults, no priority for pages, pages replaced may be heavily used or lightly used. So here it's just looking at the age of a page and then evicting the oldest one. It may be a better idea to look at the usage of a page and then evict accordingly. So that may be a better algorithm. So anyway, we'll discuss that. For now, let's look at FIFO. Okay, so in the next slide, we'll look at how this works. Okay, so we have FIFO over here. On top, you can see the reference string, and we have 3 page frames. And what we need to do is we need to see how many page faults we have. So obviously for a particular reference string, let's say algorithm 1 gives us 4 page faults, algorithm 2 gives us 10 page faults. So which algorithm would be better? Definitely one which gives us fewer page faults, algorithm A with 4 page faults. Because we saw that the time to service a page fault is quite large. Okay, so smaller page faults means smaller service time, okay, for that memory access. So initially we don't have any pages in memory, right? So which means first access for page 7 will lead to a page fault. Right now 7 is in memory, it's been mapped to a frame, right? So note here for simplicity we are not giving a number to frames, though if you want we can. Frame 0, frame 1, frame 2. So in this case page 7 would be allotted to frame 0. Next reference is for page 0, again not in memory, not allotted to a frame, so another page fault. Third is for 1, page 1, again not in memory, another page fault. Okay. And so far we have how many page faults? 3. So whenever we have page faults, we are showing the contents of the 3 frames. For some of the memory accesses, we don't see the contents of the 3 frames, which means that we don't have any page fault in that scenario. After 1, the next access is for page 2. So inside page we have 7, inside memory we have pages 7 and 0 and 1. Next access is for page 2. Now here we need to do a page replacement, right? Because all the available frames, of which we have 3, have been allocated to pages. So now we have to evict a page. Which one do we evict? So the choices are 7, page 0 and page 1. So we evict the oldest one, which is page 7. So 7 goes out, 2 comes in. Okay. Next reference for page 0. 0 is already inside memory, no page fault. Next reference is for page 3. So 3 is not in memory, so we have to evict between 2, 0 and 1. So if you see which is the oldest among page 2, page 0 and page 1, it is page 0. So we evict 0, put 3 in its place. So now which pages do we have in memory? 2, 3, 1. Okay. So we had a page fault there. Next access is for 0. So see what happened. We had an access for page 0, which was in memory, then we had an access for page 3. We evicted page 0, and as soon as we evicted page 0, we again had an access for that. So it means 0 is a heavily used page, it should not have been evicted. But anyway, because it's FIFO, it is. So now page 0, we have to evict between 2, 3 and 1. So between 2, 3 and 1 is the oldest, we evict that. Next access is for page 4, again not in memory, so 2, 3 and 0. So among 2, 3 and 0, 2 is the oldest one, evicted. So now we have 4, 3, 0. Access for page 2. 2 is not in memory, 4, 3, 0. Evict one of these 3, put 2 in. Evict 3, page 3 and put 2 in its place. Next access for page 3. Again not in memory, so 4, 2, 0, pick 1. We pick 0 and replace 3 with 0. Then we have access to page 0. Again not in memory, from 4 to 3 we have to pick 4. Next 2 accesses, 3 and 2, both are in memory, no page faults. Next access for 1 is not in memory, 0, 2, 3 are in memory, oldest one has to be evicted, so which would be 2, right? And then we put 1 in its place. Next access is for 2, not in memory, 0, 1, 3 are there, so we have to pick between them, and the one that we pick is 3. 0, 1, for these pages, no page faults, they are in memory. And then for 7, there is a page fault, 0, 1, 2, evict 0. Then for page 0, again we have to evict 7, 1, 2, evict between 7, 1 and 2, we have to evict 1. And then again an access for 1, between 7, 0, 2, we evict 2. So that is the end. we can count the number of page faults. So 1, 2, 3. So we just have to count the blue boxes. Each of them correspond to a page fault. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 is, what we are getting. 15 page faults. So seems like quite a lot. Only for, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 accesses, we did not have page faults. For rest of them, we had page faults. So this is a FIFO page replacement. Whenever you have to replace a page, your physical frames are not available, not even one. Then replace the oldest page, the page which was bought in for the, the oldest, the earliest. Okay. So this is FIFO page replacement algorithm. Okay. I hope it is clear. Quite a simple one. Okay. Now I am on slide 5. And now we discuss the optimal algorithm. Okay, so optimal generally means that it gives the best results. Okay. So if we thought about it, if we had all the resources, we could do anything we want, had all the magic in the world, what would the best algorithm for page replacement look like? So the idea is that we should evict the pages which are either not used at all or which are going to be very lightly used. So in that way, we can get the best benefit, because if we evict a page which is very heavily used, then we'll have a large number of page faults, because as soon as we evict it, perhaps in the worst case, the next access may be for that very page, which we saw many times in the FIFO algorithm. So pages which are heavily used, they should be kept in memory for the longest possible amount of time. Pages which are lightly used or pages which are not used should be evicted if the need arises. Okay. So the only problem here is it's hard to determine which pages are going to be accessed in the future. Okay, because it's a dynamic system, right? If I am opening a Microsoft Word document, what am I opening it for? Do I want to create a table? Do I want to add some references to my paper? Do I want to print the document? Do I want to do spell check? Do I want to change the font size? What do I want to do? When I'm opening the Word document, the OS does not know that, right? So, but if it did, then of course it could come up with a good algorithm. So for the optimal algorithm, the idea is to replace the page that will not be used for the longest period of time. Okay, so once again, replace the page that will not be used for the longest period of time. So to give an example, page referenced after 10 instructions versus page referenced after 1 million instructions. Right, so which one do we evict? Definitely we'll pick the page which is going to be referenced after 1 million instructions. So page faults are bad and unpleasant events, and we would like to postpone these unpleasant events as far into the future as possible. So that's a general idea. So we replace the page that will not be used for the longest period of time. Note that this will require a look ahead feature in the reference string. So if we had the reference string and if we could peek ahead and see what the future is, then we could replace a page which is not going to be used for the longest amount of time. So we need to look ahead in the reference string. We need to have a crystal ball. Okay. So that is the general idea. So this algorithm is optimal because it offers the lowest page fault rate for a given reference string and set of available frames. So for this sample string, we will get 9 page faults versus 15 from FIFO. Drawback is it's difficult to predict future page requests. We encountered a similar situation in shortest job first, where what we needed there was the length of each job in the future. which is hard to determine. So hard to predict the future. Therefore, this algorithm is virtually impossible to implement, but it may be used for comparison purposes. For example, algorithm X may not be optimal, but it is within 12.3% of the optimal. So although we may not implement it, we may not be able to implement it, but we can at least use it for comparison purposes. So now we will look at how the optimal algorithm works. Okay, so now I am on slide 6, and now we see the working of the optimal page replacement algorithm. So as we said, if we have a crystal ball and we can look ahead, so if we had that capability, then which page do we replace? We replace the page which is not going to be used for the longest amount of time. Okay, so sounds like a good policy. So let's see. Initially we saw same reference string. So note that our first 3 accesses will lead to page faults, no matter which algorithm we have, because initially we assume that to begin with, when the system starts, there is no mapping between pages and frames. So the first 3 accesses for this particular string will definitely generate page faults, because the first 3 accesses are for different pages. Okay. So we access 7, it generates a page fault, we bring it in. Access page 0, it generates a page fault, we bring it in. Access page 1, it generates a page fault, we bring it in. So bring it in means finding the appropriate physical frame and mapping it to that. Okay. And then copying the contents of the page to the physical frame. Now 4th reference is to page number 2. So now we have a situation in which we need page replacement. So we have 3 candidates for eviction, pages 7, 0 and 1. So we look at 7, 0 and 1. So 0 is being accessed right after 2. Among 7 and 1 we just look ahead all the way, and we see that 1 is accessed and then 7 is accessed towards the end. So the candidate for eviction is 7. So 201. Now 0, no page fault. 3. From 201 now we have to pick. So 0 is accessed right after 3, so we don't pick that, but now between 1 and 2. 2 is accessed before 1, so we pick 1. So we evict 1, bring 3 in its place, and 0, then 3 is there, then 0, no page fault, then 4. For 4 now we have to pick among 2, 0 and 3, and we have to evict 0. So because we have 2, then 3, then 0. 0 is not going to be used for the longest amount of time. So 0. So now we have 2, 4, 3. And then 2, no page fault, 3, no page fault, 0 we have a page fault. Among 2, 4, 3 we pick 3, 2, 2, 4, 3. So we will evict it with 4. So among 2, 0 and 3. Right? So wait. We were at 2, 4, 3. Right? And then we access 3, no page fault, then we access 0. Now for 0 again we have to bring it in, so we have to choose between 2, 4 and 3. So 3 is accessed, then 2, and then 4 is not accessed at all. So we can safely evict 4. And 0 takes its place, now we have 2, 0, 3. Next access is for 3, no page fault, then for 2, nothing, then for 1 now we have to evict. Between 2, 0 and 3. So 3 is not being accessed at all, so evict 3. So we have 2, 0, 1 now. Okay. Then 2, no page fault, 0, no page fault, 1, no page fault. And then 7, we have a page fault. Between 2, 0 and 1, we evict 2. So in this way, whenever we have to evict a page, we look ahead and then we evict the page which is not going to be used for the longest amount of time. And we can also have a special case here. We may have a page which is not going to be used at all, right? So such pages can be evicted. So look ahead and pick the page which is not going to be used for the longest amount of time. So this is the optimal page replacement, and you can see how many page faults we have. Just have to count these blue boxes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we have 9 page faults. And in FIFO we had 15 page faults. So naturally, optimal would give a very good performance. Okay, but the problem is it is virtually impossible to implement this in a realistic setting. Reason is that we don't really know the page reference patterns. We can't really look ahead. Okay, so this is optimal. Okay, I hope it's clear. Okay, now I am on slide number 7, and now we look at a third algorithm called least recently used. Okay, so the previous one we looked at was the optimal algorithm, where we evicted the page which is not going to be used for the longest amount of time into the future. And we said that in real life, in reality, this look ahead feature may not be available. So although the performance of the optimal algorithm is really good, but implementing it in real life may not be possible. So now we try to look at some middle ground. Right, so we say that optimal is hard to implement, good performance, but something like FIFO is very simple to implement, but performance is not up to the mark. So can we get something in between which can give us decent performance in terms of small number of page faults, but at the same time which is quite feasible to implement. Okay, so this brings us to least recently used, or LRU algorithm. So we may not know information about the future, but we definitely have the information about the past. So with respect to page replacement, we do know in recent history, which pages have been accessed. We know that pattern. Okay, so the idea here is to replace the page that has not been used for the most amount of time. Okay, so the page that, so now this is based on usage. Okay, so unlike FIFO, which was based on the time that the page has been in memory, this algorithm is based on usage. So given a choice between pages to evict, always evict the page that has not been used for the most amount of time. Okay, so which means that we the idea here is, if a page has not been used for a relatively long amount of time, then it is likely that it is not going to be used in the future also. So that is the approximation. A page that is being heavily used will have been used fairly recently, and also has a likelihood of being used very soon in the future. Okay, so that is the idea. So associate a time of last use for each page. Okay, so we'll also see some ways in which we can implement this. So on the same reference string, we can see how LRU works. So 701, they will all cause page faults, definitely. Right, we discussed that because initially no mapping is there between pages and frames. Fourth reference is to page 2. Now which one do we evict between 701? So 7 has not been used for the longest, right? We evict that. Okay, right? So essentially now we have 201. Okay, now 0 comes, no fault. 3 comes, do we have to evict? Yes. Choices are between 2, 0 and 1. Okay, so among 201, which has not been used for the most amount of time, it's 1. So evict that. Now we have 203. Next request is for 0, no page fault. Next request is for 4. So among 203, which one has not been used for the longest. So 0 is recent, then 3, then 2. So 2 is evicted and 4 is put in its place. Now next is recursive, unfortunately again for 2. Okay. So here we pick among 4, 0 and 3. 4, 0 and 3. Okay. And we have to put 2 in its place. So among 4, 0 and 3 we pick 3, not been used for the longest. So 402 is what we have. And then again we have a page request for 3. So among 402 we pick 0. Evict that, put 3 in its place. 430 is what we have. Next request is for 0. So 4, 3 and 2 we evict 4. So we have 032. Next is for page 3, no page fault. Page 2, no page fault. 1, yes. We have to evict now. 032, pick 0. Right, put 1. 2, next is for 2, nothing, it's fine. Next is for 0, pick between 1, 3 and 2. We pick 3. Right, next is for and put 1 in its place. Then we have 7, 102, pick 2. We have 107, 01, we are okay. So here what we do is when we have to pick a page to evict, we look back in the history and see which page has not been used for the longest among these 3. Okay, and then the one which has not, we pick that. So in this case now we count the number of page faults. 1, so just counting the blue boxes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12. So you can see performance is a sort of between FIFO and optimal. Optimal was 9 page faults, FIFO was 15 page faults, and LRU is 12 page faults. All on the same reference string, all with the assumption we have 3 physical frames available. So 12 page faults. So this is generally a good middle way, which is also it's possible to implement this, and the performance is also quite decent. How we will implement, we have to see, and we will be discussing some of the variations. This is the plain and vanilla LRU algorithm. There are different ways in which this can be implemented, so we will try to discuss some of them now. So, but general idea is least recently used. Use the past knowledge rather than the future, and replace the page that has not been used in the most amount of time. Okay. So again, as you mentioned, the idea is if a page is heavily used, it would at any given point of time it would have been used fairly recently, so it will not be removed. If a page has not been used, it would frequently, then it would have been used quite far back ahead. So remove such type of pages. Of course, there is no guarantee that page you remove will not be accessed again, but still this is a heuristic. So this seems like a decent one. So this is LRU. I hope it's clear. Okay, how to implement we will be talking about. Okay, now I am on slide 8, and now we discuss the implementation for LRU. So in the last slide we discussed this LRU, or least recently used page replacement algorithm. So here the main idea is which the page that we use for replacement is the one that has been least recently used, right? So which means it's the page which has not been used for the maximum amount of time. Okay, so page which has not been used for the maximum amount of time. So this is how the LRU, or least recently used algorithm works. Okay. So once again, the idea, the rationale here is that if a page is heavily used, then at any given point of time it would have been used quite close to that, whatever time we are observing the system. And if a page is not heavily used, or if a page is lightly used, whatever time we are monitoring the system, that page would not have been used for since a long time period. So based on that, we try to keep the pages which have been used very recently, and try to evict pages which have not been used for quite some time. So now the question is, how do we implement this LRU? One implementation that we discuss is counter based. So here what we have is each page table entry is associated with a time of use field. Okay, so we know that we have a page table. Each entry in the page table, what does it contain? It contains the base physical address of the corresponding frame, right? So it is used for address translation from virtual address to physical address. Now there can be bits left in that page table entry, and some of those bits could be used for storing the time of use field. So what we do is, in addition to that, we have a clock counter which we increment on every memory reference. So every time we have a memory reference, generate a virtual address for which we need a corresponding physical address, we increase the counter. Okay. And what we do is, whenever a reference to a page is made, the contents of that counter are copied to the time of use field in the page table entry. Right. So let's say we use integers, counter 0, and then reference is made, counter 1, then counter 2, then counter 3, counter 4, and so on. Okay. Now for a particular page, when a reference to that page is made, whatever the value of counter is, we copy that to the time of use field of the page table entry. Right. So perhaps we have like these clock ticks, and then whatever time we have when the reference to a page is made, we copy that contents into the time of use field. Okay. For that page table. Okay. So we could have a clock or we could have a counter, and this way we always have the time of last reference to each page. So once again, what we do is, we have a clock, we have a counter, and we increment it on every memory reference, right? And so counter 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's say counter 4, we refer page X, and then so we copy that. So time of last use is 4, and then at counter 10, we reference page Y, and so time of last use is 10. And now we have to evict one of them, page X and page Y. So we pick page X because 4 is less than 10. So this is how we can implement LRU. So pages with small. So which page do we pick for eviction? We pick the page with the smallest time of use value for eviction. Okay. So of course, one cost we have to pay here is, we need to search the page table for the page with the smallest time of use value. Okay. So we have to look through it and see whichever one is minimum. We have to pick that. Right. And then we have to maintain time of use when page tables are changed. So due to scheduling, we save the context of one process and bring in the context of another process, including we have to load the page tables also. Okay. So this is another time where we have to maintain the time of use. So because we have to bring it back in when the process again comes back to execute, we have to remember those time of use values. So here, so this is one of the implementations of LRU, which is a counter based implementation. Okay. Okay, now I am on slide number 9, and here we discuss one more implementation for LRU, or least recently used. So this one uses a stack, so the stack based implementation, and what the stack contains is, each element of the stack, it contains a page number. Okay. So the way this stack works is, whenever we reference a particular page, we put that page at the top of the stack. Okay. So maybe it's being referenced first time, second time, third time, fourth time, whatever it is. Whenever a page is referenced, it's put on the top of the stack. Okay. So if the page is referenced for the first time, it's added to the top. It's just a simple add operation. Otherwise, if a page has been referenced before and it's already on the stack, and if it's referenced again, then it has to be shifted from wherever it is to the top of the stack. Okay, so as reference page is moved to the top, as it has been referenced before, it is already in the stack. Okay. So where what exactly will the top contain at any point of time in the stack? Top element in the stack will always contain the most recently used page. Okay, most recently used, and least recently used will be at the bottom. Okay. So when we have to evict, which one do we pick? We always pick the least recently, so the one at the bottom of the stack. Okay. So unlike the counter implementation, there is no search operation here because we can just blindly pick the page at the bottom of the stack. Okay. Although we do note that the insertion updates have an overhead. So when you have to move the stack around, so that has an overhead cost which has to be paid. So once again, idea is we maintain a stack of pages. Whenever you reference a page, we add it to the top of the stack. So if it's a new reference, it's simply added, inserted into the top. If it's if the page has been referenced before, it will be there on the stack. Then it's just moved to the top. All the other ones are rearranged. All the other pages are rearranged. And now when we have to evict a page, we will evict the page which is least recently used, which will eventually end up at the bottom of the stack. Okay, so no search operation, but insertion will have an overhead because we may have to move the page numbers around. Okay, so this is the way the stack-based implementation of LRU works. Okay, now I am on slide number 10, and here we show an illustration for the stack-based LRU implementation. So remember, the idea is on the top we have the reference to pages. So we're looking at it from top left to right. Access page 4 followed by 7, then 07, then 1012, 12, 712. So these are all accesses to pages given with their page numbers from left to right. Now we want to implement LRU, which means we want to keep track of which page has not been used for the longest amount of time. Okay. So what we do is whenever we access a page, we add it to the stack. So you can see from left to right how the stack is growing. Right. So here we are not showing any eviction operation. So initially we have 4, we added to the stack, then 7 is on the top now, then 0 is on the top, then again 7 comes. So here we don't add any new element, but we are moving 7 to the top, and 7 and 0 are swapped. So now the stack contains 704. Adding 1, add 1 to the top, 1704. Right. And after 1 we have 0. So again 0 has been referenced before. So 0 goes on top when 1 takes its place. So 0174 is what the stack looks like. And like this, for all the memory references, the contents of the stack are shown accordingly. So the stack can grow. Now when we have to evict, we always pick the element at the bottom of the stack. So which here happens to be 4. Of course, if we had picked 4 at any point of time to evict, we would have had a new bottom element, we would have picked that. So the idea here is whenever you have a reference to a page, that page goes to the top of the stack. If it's a new reference, it's just added to the top of the stack. If it's page has been referenced before, it will be in the stack. Then it has to be moved to the top and other elements have to be rearranged. So now most recently reference page is at the top most recently, and least recently one would be at the bottom. So the one at the bottom of the page is the LRU one, the one you have to remove. So this way we can implement LRU using a stack also. Okay, so we looked at counter based implementation. in the previous 2 slides before, where we maintain a clock counter, and on every reference we increment the clock counter by 1, and then whenever a reference to a particular page is made, we copy the counter to its time of last use, and then when we have to evict, we evict the page with the smallest time of last use value. And second implementation is stack based implementation. So these are 2 ways in which we can implement this LRU page replacement algorithm. Okay, so now I am on slide 11. So this just shows the contents of the stack for 2 particular references, page references, right? In the previous slide we had shown the contents of the stack for all of the references. So here this is just taken from the book with the same reference string. What are the contents of the stack for 2 particular references? So stack before A, this is what it looks like, 21074. So you can see it corresponds to one of the stages in the previous slide, right? The 2 has just been referenced, so it's at the top, and then after that we reference 7, right, at point B. So once we reference 7, of course page 7 needs to be at the top of the stack, and then the rest of the elements have to be rearranged. So 7 goes on top, and then 2104. So 72104 will be the contents of the stack. So now if you have to evict, you evict 4. So this just shows the content of the stack for 2 memory references. Previous slide is much more comprehensive. It shows the contents of the stack for all the memory references. Okay, now I am on slide 12, and now let us now that we have discussed a couple of implementations for LRU, now let us pause and think about what is the cost of those implementations. Okay, both the counter and the stack based. Okay, so in the counter, what we are doing is every time we have a memory reference, we are increasing the counter, and then whenever a page is referenced, a particular page is referenced, we copy the counter into its time of last use field. So we have some of the bits reserved within that page table entry, because the size is mostly 32 bits and the address will not take all of that. So some of the bits can be reserved for other uses, like we saw the modify bit, right? So some of those bits we can use for this time of last use field. Now if you think about it, we'll realize that both these counter and stack based implementations of LRU, they require significant hardware assistance, which few machines may have. Okay, and the other issue is that the frequency in which we have to do these update operations. So in case of counter based, how frequently do we update the counter field, right, and copy it to time of last use for the page which is referenced, and for the stack based implementation, how frequently do we change the stack. So answer to both of those is the same for every memory reference, right? So every memory reference, which means every time we're referencing a memory, we're referencing a page, and so therefore we have to copy the counter to the page time of last use field, right? Similarly with stack, every time we reference a page, we put it on the top of the stack, or we have to move all elements around. So this these update operations, they happen at the frequency of every memory reference, which is simply unacceptable, right? So in other words, we can say that majority of the time will be required for these update operations, these overheads, and this would definitely slow down the execution of the process considerably, because first you have to update these fields, and only then can actual whatever instructions you have inside that frame, only then can they be executed. So this would really slow down the processes in a considerable fashion. Okay. So what we observe is, here we were talking about pure LRU. So what we observe is that instead of using this pure LRU, can we do some approximation? Okay. So can we approximate LRU so that we get mostly all of its performance, but at a much lesser cost? Okay. So that is what the OS does. As it is expensive to support pure LRU, the OS resorts to LRU approximation based page replacement. So which, we'll discuss a couple of those algorithms now. LRU approximation algorithms. So first algorithm, what we do here is we have a reference bit associated with each page. Okay. So as we said, there are some bits left over in the page table entry, and one of the bits we call it a reference bit. So what is this used for? The answer is in the name itself, reference bit. So whenever we reference a page, this bit is set to 1, right? So what will happen is the CPU will generate some virtual address, and virtual memory is divided into pages, right? All of the same size. So for every virtual address generation, a particular page will be referenced, right? And then that page is mapped to a physical frame entry into page table, and then page is copied into the frame, and then the instructions can execute. So what we are saying is, whenever we are referencing a page, we set the bit for reference bit for that page as 1. So of course, when we say reference, we mean it could either be a read or write, both scenarios. We set the reference bit, or the R bit as we call it in short. We set the R bit of that page as 1. So the way it works is, as you can guess, initially what is the value of all the R bits for all the pages in question for a process? They're all 0. So as the process executes, eventually pages are going to be generated, and the reference bit or the R bit for those pages will be set to 1, right, for the appropriate pages which are accessed, which are referenced. Okay. So after a point of time, we can determine which pages have been used and which have not. So we'll have a set of pages, and after particular time, the reference bits for some pages may be 1, for other pages they may be 0, right? So corresponding to pages which have been referenced and the pages which have not been referenced respectively. Okay. Of course, we don't have enough granularity, so here we don't actually know the order in which they have been used. So we can say that, let's say at time t1, we can say, page 0, page 4, page 6, page 8 have been referenced, and such pages have not. But since it's only 1 bit, we only know whether they've been referenced or not. We don't know the order of reference, because for LRU for the pure LRU at least, we need the order of reference, so that when we have to evict, when we have to make a call for eviction, then we evict the one which has not been used for the longest time period. So although we don't have that information, but just having this reference bit, we can use this as a basis for many LRU approximation algorithms. Okay, so let us discuss at least some of them. Okay, so I'm on slide 13, and first algorithm we talk about is the additional reference bits algorithm. Okay. So now the question is, how can we gain additional ordering information for the reference bits? Right. So given a set of pages at a particular time, can we say, or can we obtain information on in the order in which they have been referenced? Okay. Additional ordering information for the reference bits. So one approach is we can gain additional ordering information by recording the reference bits at regular intervals. So first algorithm that we discussed, we don't maintain 1 bit, we maintain more than 1 bit. So let's say we maintain 8 bits for each particular page. So of course we need more bits, but we'll see how this can be useful. Okay. So we gain additional information by recording the reference bits at regular intervals. So we can define that. Let's say every 100 milliseconds we record the reference bits. So we keep 8 bits for each page in a page table. So perhaps in the page table, if we have space, bits left over, or in a separate table. I can have a pointer to that. So what we do is at regular intervals, the OS shifts the reference bit for each page into the higher order bit of its byte, shifting the other bits right by 1 bit, discarding the lowest order bit. So for each page we have dedicated 8 bits, and we decide the time interval, right? And then what we do is we shift the reference bit for each page into the higher order bit of its byte. So in a particular time interval, either the page has been referenced or not. If it's been referenced, we have a value of 1 to add to the 8 bits of that page. If it's not been referenced, we have a value of 0 to add to its 8 bits for a particular page. So whatever it is, 1 or 0, we add it at the MSB, which naturally means the LSB will just fall off. Okay, it will be discarded. Okay. So what we're trying to say is this byte for each page will contain some of the previous history regarding whether the page has been referenced or not. Okay, so the byte contains a history of page use for the last 8 time periods. So what time period we choose itself is a non-trivial question, but we'll not focus on that for now. So let's say time period is 100 milliseconds. Okay. So what we're trying to say is in the last 100 milliseconds, has this page been referenced or not? Yes or no? Okay. If it has, we add the 1. If not, we add the 0. So that's what we're saying. So of course we can tune this 100 milliseconds and come up with a more better value. So we're saying the byte contains a history of page use for the last 8 time periods. If a page has not been used in the last 8 time periods, we got all zeros. If a page has been used in every single period, we got all ones. So what we're saying is, let's say a page with value of 196 decimal has been used more recently than a page with value 119. Again, decimal. Okay. So converting to decimal, the page with the lowest number is the LRU page, and it can be replaced. Okay. So what we do is we have 8-bit byte for each page, and after every time period we record either a 1 or 0 depending on whether that page has been referenced or not. Right. So it goes in the MSB, LSB is discarded, and then when we have to choose a page for eviction, we look at the value for these 8 bits for each page, and whichever one has the lowest value, we simply discard that. Okay, the page with the lowest number in decimal, we simply discard that. Okay, so that's the general idea for the additional reference bits algorithm. Okay. Okay, now I'm on slide 14, and here we see the algorithm in action. Okay. So here let me just count. Yeah, it is 8 bits for each page, and we are here. The time interval is one clock tick. Okay, so at each clock tick we are given the reference bits for all the 5. So we have 6 pages here, pages 0 to 5. So for each clock tick we are given the R bits, the value of the R bit for each of these 6 pages. So at clock tick 0 they are 1 0 1 0 1 1, which means page 0 has been accessed, page 1 has not, page 2 has not, and page 4 and 5 both have been accessed. So initially the values are 0 for all 6, and then we put appropriate values on the MSB. So 1 for 0, 0 for 1 and so on, going all the way to 6. So this is what it looks like. And now if we have to evict, which one do we choose? So two pages which have not been used, 1 and 3, we can pick any one. At the next tick, these are the values, so again we add them at the MSB side and this is what we get. Right? Likewise, we're given the reference bit values for ticks 2, 3 and 4. So every time we add that value, the reference bit value to the MSB and the LSB value falls off. Right? So we have only information for the last 8 clock ticks. Of course, more bits will give us more history, which is better, but of course has a higher cost, has a higher overhead. Because now we'll have to maintain larger number of bits. Okay. So in this case, even though we use 8, so we'll soon see, even with the only 1 bit, we can still do a good job in picking reasonable pages for eviction. So after 4 ticks, these are the values we have, and whichever one has the smallest value, we can pick that and we can evict them. So I'll leave it as an exercise for you. At point E, we are given the values for all 6 pages. So among these, which one will be evicted? So those the values are right there. Just have to see which one is the smallest, and then that can be evicted. Okay. So this is the additional reference bits algorithm. Keep a certain number of bits per page, and then after every time interval, record the reference bits for all pages, add them to the set of bits that you have, and then when you have to evict the one with the lowest value. Okay, so this is the additional reference bits algorithm. So now last one before we stop, the second chance algorithm. Okay. So previously we assumed 8 bits per page, right, which cost can quickly go up because we saw we can have a very large number of pages. For a 4 GB address space, we can have up to 2 raised to 20 pages, which is huge. So can we do something with a smaller number of bits? So the second chance algorithm is based on, tries to go along that path. So what we're doing in second chance algorithm is we are extending FIFO, first in first out, and adding information about page usage. So FIFO we looked at earlier. For each page we have a FIFO queue. So whenever a page is brought in, it's added to the queue, and when we have to evict, we always evict the page at the head of the queue. So the problem with that pure FIFO was that it had no information about page usage. And we have seen that information about page usage is important because it's a essential parameter to help us decide which page to evict. The usage information is absolutely critical. So can we extend FIFO in some way and add some information about page usage? So here we can have 1 bit with each page, just 1, unlike 8 in the previous one. And when a page is selected, we inspect its reference bit. Okay. So if the bit is 0, then we proceed to replace the page, because the reference bit is 0, it means it has not been accessed recently, and depending on the time interval you have. And so we can evict that page and we can put the new page in its position. So that's the whole idea of page replacement. All physical frames are taken. So we have to evict one of the pages and we have to map the new page to that physical frame. Add it to the page table, copy the page to the frame, and then go to the physical memory and execute the instruction. So if bit value is 0, proceed to replace the page. Since it has not been referenced, new page is put in its position. What happens if the bit value is 1? So it means the page has been referenced recently. right? So what we do is we don't evict it, of course, and we give the page a second chance and proceed to the next page. Okay. Importantly, we set the bit value to 0. So if we are inspecting a page to evict, and for that page the reference bit is 1, we don't evict it and we set the reference bit to 0. So why are we doing this? The reason for this is this will be implemented as a circular queue. So as we keep on moving, eventually we'll again reach this page, and in the time it takes to do one full walk through the circular queue, if it's a heavily used page, it has a good chance of being referenced again, and then its reference bit will again be set to 1. So again we set to 0, again 1, again 0. So which means pages which are used heavily, they will be, they will not be evicted. So we inspect it first, its reference bit is 1, we change it to 0, give it a second chance, and again we do a circular walk through the list. When we get back again, if it's a heavily used page, its reference bit will again be set to 1, again we set it to 0. So we keep on setting, resetting from 1 to 0, 0 to 1, 1 to 0, 0 to 1, so on. So heavily used pages will not be picked. Okay. Page that is given a second chance will not be replaced until all the pages have been replaced, okay, or of course given second chances. Pages that set their R bit to 1 consistently, will never be replaced. Okay. So this is also called a clock page replacement algorithm, because we move circular in a circular fashion, and this can be implemented as a circular queue. So this is a second chance algorithm. Okay, so in the next slide we'll see an illustration and then we'll wind up. Okay, now I'm on slide 16, and here we see set of pages. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So they're showing 7 pages out of the total. Of course, we'll have a lot more, right? So, and what we're saying is for each page, so implemented as a circular queue, we have the reference bits. So we have a pointer to a particular page at any point of time, and right now in part A we are pointing to this third page with reference bit 1. So do we evict this page? No, because its reference bit has been set, so which means it was referenced. We don't evict it. We move on to the next page, and for this particular page on which the pointer is now, we set the reference bit to 0. Look at the next one, again its reference bit is 1. We don't evict it, set its reference bit to 0. Next page, reference bit is 0. So we can go ahead and evict this page. So let's say if the reference bit of all pages is 1, then we set all of them to 0, we don't evict anyone. And then in the second pass we'll see if the pages are heavily used, many of them will have their bit set as 1. The pages that are not heavily used, it will still be 0, and then we can evict from those. So I hope the idea is clear. Just have one bit with each page, the reference bit, and inspect in a circular clock fashion each page. Goal is to find a suitable page for eviction, and to select that, inspect the reference bit for that page. The reference bit is 0, evict that page. If the reference bit is 1, don't evict the page, set the reference bit to 0, move on to the next page. So in this way, so this is called second chance or clock page replacement algorithm. Okay.